There's two paths that you can choose from. There's only two, and you don't get to decide if you want to be on some kind of path. Either way, you're going to be on a path, and it's up to you to choose which one you want to go down. So, kind of the default one that the majority of people are on before they have any kind of spiritual awakening or any kind of realization at all. The one that 99% of people that you encounter are on. We could call it the worldly path, the material world, the material path, whatever you want to call it. And this is a path of, okay, I experience suffering. I experience disturbances. I experience unhappiness and discontentment. So what am I going to do about it? The worldly, material, whatever you want to call it, path is to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate my environment. I'm going to try to change and mold and manipulate everything around me to fit it into what I think it should be so that I can be all right and okay and content. So my life situation, right? My job, my family, my friends, how much money I have, the experiences that I get to have in my life, like going out and having fun and, you know, how much money I make, all these kinds of things. I'm going to get my hands on them and try to change them and manipulate them to make them the way I want them to be. And if I can get them to be the exact way that I want them to be, then I'll finally be all right. This is kind of the default unconscious way of going about things. And so people spend years and decades and even centuries doing this, thinking that if they can just get it to be a certain way, eventually everything will be okay. It's a never ending loop, right? It's something that you can do your whole life and it never works. Now, you will have moments where you think you've gotten it just the way it should be, right? And then a couple of things can happen with that. Once you've gotten it just the way you think it should be, well, if it is exactly how you think it should be, the problem is it doesn't last. It doesn't stay that way. Once you've gotten it just perfect, it changes, it switches. Nothing ever stays how it is. So you've fine-tuned it just the way you think it should be, and then it's different, right? Or maybe you've gotten it the way you thought you wanted it to be, but you're actually still not happy. It's not what you thought it would be. It's not, you've got the perfect job that you wanted. You've got that husband or wife that you thought was going to finally make you happy. You've got whatever you thought it was that was going to fulfill you, and it didn't work. It didn't satisfy you the way you thought it would. And so what happens is you get back on the hamster wheel and you keep trying and trying and trying, and you'll have little moments of happiness or joy where you've gotten it to where you want it to be, and you're happy for a moment, and then it changes, and you're back on the hamster wheel. You're back to experiencing that suffering. It's a never-ending loop. And, if you've got some level of awareness of this situation that you're in, you see that you can never get things to be exactly perfect in a way that will make you content permanently or make you fulfilled all the time, because it's always going to change. This world that we live in, you can't manipulate it and change it so much to the point where it will be how you want it to be, because there's billions of people in the world and there's so many things happening, and everyone is trying to change it to be how they want it to be. So you are, in a sense, when you're doing this, you're at war with every other person on the planet, because everyone's got their own idea of how it should be. And if you want that job or that car or that house or whatever it is, there's other people that want that too, and only one of you can get it. And even the one person that gets it, they might not even be happy with it, right? So this is the path that we could call the worldly path, the material world, whatever. And then there's the spiritual path, or the non-dual path, or however you want to phrase that too. These are all just words. They don't mean anything. You can call it whatever you want. But this path is a way of thinking, of saying, okay, things are happening and I am suffering. I'm experiencing suffering and discontentment, and I'm not happy. But I also understand that even if I change the world to be how I think it should be, there's not a guarantee that that's going to make me happy either. Millionaires and billionaires commit suicide all the time, right? So I understand that I can't manipulate the outside world to be the way that it should be to be happy. So what I can do, what I need to do, what I have every right to do, if I want to be free, is I have to work on myself. I have to work on my inner being. Now, when I say work on myself or work on my being, I am not, doing a parallel of, well, I'm going to transition from changing and manipulating the outer world to changing and manipulating my inner world, right? I'm not saying that you need to change and manipulate yourself, because that also is not going to work, because, the small I, the illusory self that you think you are, that's also always changing. That's also not constant. That's also not permanent. So that also will not lead to this fulfillment. So what it is, when I say work on yourself, when you see these things in you that cause suffering, these attachments that you have, these aversions that you have, right? When you have situations in your life that cause you pain and unhappiness, you see that that's not a problem with the outside world. That's a problem with my inner self. And that's what I need to work on. Not the outside world, but that thing that's causing me problems and pain is something within myself, right? And so Michael Singer has a beautiful way of explaining this. And the way he says is that it's not about doing something. You're not doing something to change that. What you're doing is, the term he uses that I really like is called relaxing and releasing. And so when you see these things within yourself that are causing you pain and suffering and disturbances that are arising in you, when you have a conflict with your boss and you feel this tension rising up in you, the first step is to relax. So relax physically, right? Oftentimes we have these tensions and we get all clamped up. And the first thing you do is relax your body, relax your muscles, relax all that. And then you relax mentally and spiritually. So you have all of this mental tension too. Well, why did he say this? Why is this happening? What's going on, right? You have all this mental tension as well. So you just relax. So relaxing isn't doing something, it's a letting go, it's an easing, right? So you relax. And the second step is called releasing. And this is also not a doing. You're not doing anything. You're releasing whatever that is. So if I am having anxiety about a test, for example, right? And I'm seeing this anxiety rise up in me and I'm getting tense and stressed out and, oh my God, what's going to happen? And am I going to fail this test? And it's so hard. And okay, I relax. I relax my body, my muscles. I relax my mind, right? I relax everything within me. I relax. And I just release whatever that is. Release that part of you. Release that thing in you. And this is a ongoing process, because as you go about your day, as you go about your life, these things that cause you disturbances and pain and all these things, they'll arise constantly, right? Especially if you're just beginning on this path. And so whenever these things happen, just continue to relax and release. And as you do this, and you don't have to call it relax and release, you can call it whatever you want. But the basic idea is just letting go of whatever it is in you that's causing this. Because there's a small I, right? There's this little me that is so tense and stressed and frightened, and everything bad can happen, right? But there's also this awareness, this presence that is always here that can never leave me because I am it and it is me and it is all of us. It's present always. And so by doing this, by letting go, right? You're not pushing anything away. I'm not saying, get away from me, anxiety. I'm not saying, get away from me, right? I'm just letting it go. I'm not saying I hate you to this feeling. I'm not saying you are bad, get away from me. I'm just saying I see you, right? I am aware of you. I see what feeling you are causing me to have. I see what you are, okay? And I am aware of you and I am letting you go. And so when you go about your life and you do this constantly, as you do this process every moment of every day, you will start to see that eventually things don't start to bother you as much. That the things that previously caused you so much pain and suffering, they don't anymore. And if you do this constantly with big things, with little things, right? Obviously, with bigger things, it can be more challenging and you might need to work on that more. But eventually, you'll start to see that you feel more free and light and you don't feel so bogged down and just attached and webs all around you to all these things and emotions and pain and whatever. You can be free. And awareness itself, consciousness itself that we are, is naturally free. And there's nothing that you have to do to make that happen because it's already right here now. There's nothing you can do to make it go away. But we get so lost in the movie that we forget that we're in the theater watching it, right? When you're in the theater and you're watching a movie, you get so lost in it that you forget that you're the one watching it. And by this process of relaxing and releasing, or whatever term you want to call it, I think it's beautiful that all of us have different perspectives and different ways of wording things and phrasing things. And, I love hearing people's way of saying these things. And so whether you call it relax and release or whatever you want to call it, as you do this and as you get more free, moment by moment, day by day, you will really start to feel this presence more. And that little I that used to be so scared and so frightened, you'll find that it's not so much anymore. And even when it is, you understand that that is not you and that you don't need to do anything about it. You are free already. You are perfect and content, and everything is as it should be. So today, whatever you're going through, I hope that this will help you a little bit. Um, let me know if you have other ways of phrasing this or you have other techniques that, have helped you on this journey, because it's all one journey. Feel free to comment that. I'd love to hear, your perspective on this. But, if this video, if this idea helped you at all, feel free to like or dislike. If you didn't like it, tell me that too. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I'm obviously a newer channel and I'm new to doing this. So if you have any feedback for me going forward, I'd love to know what I can do to improve this channel and improve my overall message here. So just let me know. And thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.